Hi there, and welcome to this episode of 316 Unfiltered with John and Hev. We're continuing to look at the matter of marriage and divorce, and actually, on this occasion, we're going to be thinking a little bit more about divorce and where it is permissible. Think carefully about the grounds for marriage, the grounds for divorce. What we're thinking of here is sexual immorality before marriage, giving grounds for divorce. Apart from that, it seems impossible to justify it before God. And that is actually what matters. You're not going to like this one, but this is the reality.
Yeah. In that word, it's not whoever divorces his wife except for sexual immorality or adultery. So it's not that you're married to that person and they go off and the Lord Jesus says that's okay to get a divorce. It would seem in this instance sexual immorality is actually she was up to something before you got married. She's not a virgin.
Which seems to be the dictate in Deuteronomy.
Yeah.
There seems to be
some uncleanness.
that the two are betrothed and the let's just pick on both of them. One of the couple goes, "Hey, is there something you've not told me? Where were you last night?" "Oh, okay, it's off." With great sadness, it's off. And the sadness of that would be awful, would be terrible. This is what this seems to be talking of. But in the engagement, this period of time when there's an agreement to be married and you find out stuff and that hasn't been disclosed and it's not good. And I say to you, whoever divorces his wife, and this seems to be related to that, except for sexual immorality, seems to be in this lead up to the marriage, and marries another, commits adultery. Whoever marries her who is divorced commits adultery. It seems really easy to commit adultery, and it seems massively commonplace today. What do you say about that?
I think.
And how do we handle it?
I think it's hard because if you read verse 10, it kind of clarifies it. His disciples said to him, "If such is the case of the man with his wife, that actually you can't divorce her except for sexual immorality. You can't marry another if you do because you're committing adultery. And if you marry someone who's divorced, they're committing adultery. If that's the case, then the disciples say it's better for the man with his wife. It's better not to marry."
It's interesting because the Pharisees are hearing all this and they don't answer at this point. The disciples chirp in and going, "Wow, we're all stuffed."
Yeah, this is too hard.
Well, and the impression is that, like pretty much everyone on the planet, we've all been immoral in one way or another. So it's like better not marry, because it's like, how can a man be pure? How can a woman be pure? Is it actually possible? And the answer is no, it would appear not.
So, for me, in my understanding of this, it means there's something really high and holy and special about marriage that actually, as far as within our ability, is you think very carefully about who you marry. Don't enter into it lightly. In one sense, perhaps nobody intends to, but some do. Mind you, I think there's something I saw come up on the TV. Australia married at first sight. So they are, I would say, entering into it lightly. But
pull back the veil and go.
Commit adultery. Divorce doesn't undo the one flesh. That still stands. The only way that actual contract seems to end, that original contract that you make with your first spouse, is, according to Romans 7, when they die.
Yeah. We wriggle around it, just like that very clever guy who likes Japanese. Yeah, I don't think he's Christian. Well, I'm not sure, but saying about the days of creation is clearly not that. It must be allegorical. It must be just a bit of poetic license. And the plain reading isn't that. A day is not a day. I mean, and I think it's ridiculous. In the same way that this marriage divorce is plain and it's difficult, and where the disciples are going, it's better not to marry. For if this is the case, it was difficult enough with the Pharisees drawing attention to this, but now you're saying this, you're raising the bar, and it's like, okay, and the Lord's kind of raised it higher when saying, if you look, you've committed adultery in your heart. You're going, wow, we're absolutely done for. We haven't got a chance. All of these are lessons along the way. And marriage, until death us do part. I've heard people say multiple times, well, the marriage died, so therefore I'm free. Well, you could say, that's really, wow, I never thought about it that way. Who pulled the trigger? Who killed it then? It was them, was it? It was them that did it all. Well, to be completely truthful, I did play my part. So you're like 50-50? Well,
I don't know. I'm almost yet to hear anyone who's been divorced say they've had any part in it.
I
really.
know. And why is that? Why is that? Why
it's
is
very,
that?
I don't know. I mean, I find it sad. We've got people in our own families who, unfortunately, this is their experience. We know people who have been divorced and are remarried, and we value them, and they profess faith and all the rest of it. It's really difficult. And I hate the thought that actually, in one sense of coming down hard, saying, well, I believe this from the start to the finish. And it would mean some friends I've got, some people I know, they're in the wrong marriage. They got married again. They've done the wrong thing. According to this, they're perhaps committing adultery. And therefore, am I saying all people who are divorced, all divorcees cannot remarry, and I'm consigning them to misery for the rest of their lives? I hate that thought. But
well, you hate the thought of consigning them to.
I do, but I love the truth.
Yeah.
And I love the truth more.
Yeah.
I don't want anyone to be miserable, but I cannot affirm someone in something that I think God is saying you shouldn't be doing that. I'm not in it.
Well, it takes, if people want affirmation, and if you don't give affirmation, if you won't go to the wedding, or you'll go to the wedding, but they can say, you didn't really smile at my wedding. I look at the pictures here, you weren't really smiling. If what they're looking for is full affirmation, or if I'm looking for full affirmation about something which is at least debatable, it's at least debatable, it's at least sort of up in the air a little bit, being generous. If nothing but full affirmation will work, well, that's testimony enough to say that they're in the wrong. We know dear loved ones who are divorced, and we got great relationships with them, and
we know people who are remarried, and we got a good relationship with them.
And they know that we struggle with this. We read this and think, well, actually, you're meant to stay married. You're meant to deal with it. You're meant to seek the Lord a little bit more, and the Lord will make it good. And you didn't. And once a divorce has happened and years have gone by, and one's gone off or whatever, it is kind of done for. But I think looking for, a full agreement that that person's done nothing wrong. I'd say that we know folk that have kind of put their hands up and gone, I think I made some mistakes here, I've messed up a bit. And it's refreshing, isn't it, when people say that? When I say it, I'm really sorry for this, that and the other. You can build upon that. And that clearly happened in, a couple of these cases from a long time ago, that people held their hands in the air and said, I'm so sorry. I don't know what I was thinking. It changes everything. And no wonder the disciples say, well, it's better just not to get married. But, Peter's married.
Yeah.
He's got a mother-in-law. she was really ill. It was interesting. I just thought something naughty there, where the Lord made her well again, and
Peter was glad.
he was thrilled. I never thought about that one. Okay, so it goes on. It said, Jesus said to them, all cannot accept this saying, but only those to whom it has been given. Okay, this is about not being married, about being single. Clearly, some people, I would say, have a gift, and their singleness is to be used in a particular way for the Lord, and that's great. But I think the general principle is that you get married, and you marry the right person, and you stick with them for all the days of your life, and you one day, die at a ripe old age, and then sadly your partner dies sometime later on, and it must be really hard. What does it say after that one? Do you want to read a bit? 12.
For there are eunuchs who were born thus from their mother's womb, and there are eunuchs who were made eunuchs by men, and there are eunuchs who have made themselves eunuchs for the kingdom of heaven's sake. He who is able to accept it, let him accept it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a little tricky bit. Eunuchs.
But those who've made themselves eunuchs for the kingdom of heaven's sake, they are laying aside their fleshly desires.
We're not told about Paul as to how that was, but he does seem to have been single.
Yeah.
And used up all his time for the Lord, against the Lord to start off with, and then for the Lord afterwards. And it was a hard life, but what a life he lived out, and he had all the time to do it. He was like on gas mark 25, flat out from conversion onwards. Just changed direction from where he was heading off in the first place. Okay.